Now you can touch the screen in 3D. What's going on, everyone? My name is Frosty. Welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be showcasing my, if you guys can guess the system's 3DS collection. Now a lot has changed in my collection. Believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, I've only sold 2 3DS games in this entire collection. That is saying something. That is saying that this system is amazing. So we're gonna go ahead and start out with the 3DS. So the 3DS pretty much was like the next Nintendo's handheld after the regular DS. It introduced cameras, like 3D cameras with AR codes, which were kind of a flaw in my personal opinion, but hey, I'm a taking kind of sugar. This system has a lot of amazing games, but we're gonna start off with my sister's 3DS XL. This is the original one, so it will process things a little bit slower, and it does not play new 3DS games. But what to introduce the 3DS system is that they introduced the circle pad. Now, if you're playing DS games, and this is backwards compatible with DS games, if you're playing DS games such as Super Mario 64 DS, Diddy Kong Racing DS, any game that really was like 3D but was painful to use the D-pad, well, play it on the 3DS because it solves all your problems. So this one, yes, this was my sister's. That's why, why would I get a customized sticker like that early? Then we have the 2DS XL. Now the 2DS XL may feel cheap in the hand. However, it's much faster than this, believe it or not. But not only that, the new systems actually introduced C-Stick and Amiibo integration, where the regular old DSs and 2DSs, I believe you had to buy a Amiibo adapter for it to be Amiibo compatible, which I find very interesting, by the way. But yeah, the C-Stick pretty much used this. There are some games on top of my head that I know that utilize it, like Fire Emblem Shadows of Lentia, Majora's Mask 3D, a couple other games too, but there really aren't that many that I can think of the top of my head. But this is the one I'm so surprised that this still holds up to this day. If you are on a budget, I highly recommend picking up this one. And I think there's another one that's like white and orange, but I went with the cyan version because it looks cooler. So, and then we get into the system I use pretty much every day. This is the new 3DS XL with Majora's Mask Limited Edition. I love Majora's Mask. That's the only reason why I got it. I got this one second hand though. That's why it doesn't have the box, where this one I bought it at Target. I think it was going for like $80 at the time. This one I paid like about $150. It was worth it because this is technically a limited edition. So, and this one has a much bigger battery than the 2DS XL. So, take a can of sugar, choose your model, but however, I recommend the newer systems over the older ones. The only time I would recommend the older ones is if you like the limited edition skins, but that's probably about it. All right, and then this is the case I use to, it's not as great as my Switch case, but this is the case I use to hold my DS, both my DS and XL games, or new 3DS, to when I go back to the dorms. So it only holds up to 8 games, but everyone kind of has a style case. I'm just saying. All right, let's get into the games. We got a lot of games, so disclaimer, I'm going to be talking pretty deep into most of these games. So this video will be very long. I'm just saying. Animal Crossing New Leaf. This is the OG version. Now, Nintendo has released a series called the Nintendo Selects line. So if you're on the budget but want to experience these classic games, if you're in Seattle, Washington, it will run you $22.01. So $22.01. I did your sales tax rate, you're welcome. However, you're in other areas, it's $19.99 plus your state sales tax may vary. So there is that. I have no Nintendo Selects games at all because I do not like them. Cheap reprints in my personal opinion, but I take a can of sugar. Everyone plays games for a different reason. Animal Crossing New Leaf. So this is actually my sister's game. They did re-release a version called Welcome Amiibo, which it's Amiibo compatible. I'm not sure if this is amiibo compatible because I know I never played this game before, but from what my sister told me is that this is the first game to introduce Isabelle. I hate her in Ultimate, by the way. And you could become mayor in this game, so very interesting. If it's like any other Animal Crossing game, it's pretty much, I would recommend playing it short burst. However, if you're playing long term, like long sessions, I gotta ask you guys, how do you do it? Because I can't play this game longer than like an hour and a half or so. And the last one I played was the one for the GameCube. And as of this recording, if you're not able to get a 3DS, well, Nintendo Switch is coming out with Animal Crossing New Horizons. That's coming out in March. So take a can of sugar. Next up, we got Detective Pikachu making his appearance as a giant amiibo. Yeah, this amiibo is actually one of the biggest ones. Like, yeah, you can see my hand. I have pretty small hands, by the way. Size comparison, there's that. Now, just letting you guys know, this is the only Pokemon game I have in this collection. I've already explained my reasons why I quit mainline Pokemon games in my original DS collection. However, Detective Pikachu is a spin-off game that's like an adventure, like a point clicker kind of adventure kind of thing. Very interesting because it's very chill. It's very, very like hardcore fan Pokemon. So if you're a hardcore Pokemon fan, I recommend skipping this. However, Pikachu is very interesting. He's a flirt. He loves coffee. And he sounds really weird as a Pikachu. I'm just saying because Detective Pikachu is a very good, I would say this is a really good spin-off because I'm more into spin-off Pokemon games these days. So maybe I could recommend it. However, this is the only Pokemon game I have in this Naruto collection. Plus the amiibo is actually pretty hard to find these days too. Alright, we have Donkey Kong Country Returns 3D. A Wii port of the original game from, the Wii version. So Donkey Kong Country Returns. So this is a 2D platformer, which in my personal opinion is the hardest one. This is actually slightly easier than the Wii version. However, they added I think they added an extra world and made a few gimmicks a bit easier in this version. However, take a can of sugar because don't remember the Wii version. But I would recommend this, but I don't recommend this as your very first Donkey Kong game. Mainly because it's how difficult it is. 3DS, Wii version. I would recommend you guys start with Tropical Freeze. I think Tropical Freeze is a little bit easier than this one. Probably the easiest in the series. But it's a very solid 2D platformer. Now we got Fire Emblem Awakening. My sister's the bigger fan of the Fire Emblem games. I did not like Awakening. Actually, as a matter of fact, Awakening was actually my least favorite game in the entire series from what I've played so far. And main reason why, poor map designs, poor pacing. I could care less about Chrom. Chrom is just a big drag. Not only that, the OST is really good, but the maps were just. And if you guys don't know me, I don't play games for story. I play games for gameplay and music. Gameplay is very slow paced, but OST gets a pass. So there's that. Then I got Fire Emblem Echoes, Shadows of Lentia. This is actually the 3DS game I'm actually currently playing. One of the few too. Very, very solid title. I know it's a remake of Fire Emblem Gaiden. I think it was released for NES, if I'm not mistaken. This is a remake, very, very solid game. I would strongly suggest playing this one over Awakening, just my personal opinion. However, what they added in this one was they added exploration, which that's what Awakening should have been, in my personal opinion, because you could skip enemies and all of that. This game goes by acts, where the rest of the Fire Emblem games goes by chapter. 5 acts, if I'm not mistaken. But not looking at that. Silica's map design may be pretty bad in my personal opinion, but her OST is really good. Silica's Bay, Claire's Bay. There's a lot of interesting Fire Emblem characters in this game. So there's that, and then I got Fates, both Birthright and Conquest. This is beginner friendly. This will literally destroy you. Just pick your poison. However, I did finish Birthright, and I will say this right now, it's more, I would say gameplay is a lot better than Awakening, just my personal opinion. Mainly because map design is okay. It's better than Awakening, just my personal opinion. But what I would definitely say is do not play this as your very first Fire Emblem game. You're gonna rage quit if that's the case. Even I have trouble with this one in casual mode. And I play most of my Fire Emblem games in casual mode because permadeath really intimidates me. Yeah, the cartridges are actually pretty different. One's, the Birthright is like light. Conquest is dark, which is a really nice touch. However, the 3DS logos, if you guys didn't know, when you insert the cartridges, they will show up this artwork. So I find that very interesting. Next up, we got Pikmin 4. Hey, Pikmin. A 2D puzzle game, which I find, actually, I'm not gonna lie, I find this game okay. Not the worst one for sure. Actually, probably the worst one in the series, but it's not as bad as everyone says it. Like, if you enjoy puzzles and play this with an open mind, you're gonna enjoy this game a lot more than the hardcore ones. Well, I wouldn't say that far. I would say more like you'll enjoy this game for what it is. It's not meant to be a hardcore mainline Pikmin game, although I've never played the third one, even though I own it. But this one, I would say this one's pretty good. I mean, sure, you can't really like manage your battalion as well, but this is meant for a puzzle game, not a like a RTS game. So pretty okay. It's more like a mid-game kind of game for collection. Yes, we got Kid Icarus Uprising. I finished this just last summer. It's really good. Not only that, it has a in-game cover art, which is really cool. Kid Icarus Uprising is pretty much a reboot or revival from Kid Icarus NES. However, this is more of a shoot 'em up adventure kind of game. Very solid. Like, however, the controls are a little awkward if you don't have the Circle Pad Pro, which costs like $22. However, I would definitely recommend this game. It's a very solid game, hard 100%. Hades is hilarious. Medusa's, I feel sorry for Medusa in this game, but I highly recommend this game, guys. It looks so amazing, and not only that, this was I think this was an early released game. Yeah, it came out 2012, so it's pretty interesting. All right, we get into Kirby Planet Robobot. Robobot, it's a really good game, very different. You get to pilot mechs. They say this is probably one of the most difficult games in the entire series, 100%. I will agree with them because the only thing I need to do in this game is the True Arena. Oh my gosh, True Arena is so difficult. But pilot giant mechs, I would probably say this is probably one of the few Kirby games I would recommend starting out, actually. Like, actually, no, scratch that. You could start out with almost any Kirby game in the series and still enjoy the others, for sure. Planet Robobot, I don't remember this being difficult besides the extra modes. So take a can of sugar. Very futuristic, very different. I enjoyed it. Next up, we got Triple Deluxe. Triple Deluxe is a very traditional Kirby game, unlike Planet Robobot, with less gimmicks. Very simplistic. I don't remember this one as well as Planet Robobot. And yes, if you guys see the codes, I don't care if you guys claimed it. I've already used them. But Triple Deluxe was a game that really is super traditional to the point where many people prefer this one over Planet Robobot. However, because I played so many Kirby games, in the series, this one kind of like dropped a little on the bottom side, but it's not the worst one. Oh yeah, then they have Drum Dash, so if you really love rhythm games, there's that for you. True Arena for that one's also hard too, but not as bad as Planet Robobot. Now we get into the final game that I have in the Kirby's collection. I don't have the Battle Royale game, but I'm not interested in it. Now, extra epic yarn. This game contradicts itself so much. Like, this is a Wii port for sure, but what I mean by contradiction is that Kirby's Epic Yarn took away like copy abilities, and they added a few charms and whatnot. This game adds back in copy abilities, and it's really funny. But this game is not. This game is known to be the harder version. However, this one, all they did was they added like a mode called Devil Mode, where you're pretty much being stalked by this one enemy. Think of it like the Angry Sun for Super Mario Bros. 3. That's the best way I can put it. So, but I mean, I like this version. I mean, I could use some challenges, and plus they added extra modes and whatnot. But the Devil Mode is definitely the one that, no, people know this game by. Alright, we get into the Zelda games, and I have all of them. Now, we got A Link Between Worlds. Fantastic game. Breath of the Wild does not even I would say this is better than Breath of the Wild, even though it's hard to compare between the two. Easy to 100%. This game is very, very non-linear. Like, what I mean is that if you have a certain weapon, this game uses a rental system for items, and it's very funny because you could play most of the temple dungeons in any order you want, just as long as you have the item. Something very different. I approve of it because the overworld is actually pretty small, so this game can be it's very easy to navigate to where you need to go next, unlike Breath of the Wild. But I highly recommend this one. And this one has a shiny foil cover, which I find really cool. Kind of hard to see on camera, but recommend it. Very different gimmicks, very stays true to, it's like a retelling of the original Link's Links to the Past, but I recommend it. Majora's Mask 3D, the weakest port in my personal opinion, because they added a lot of amazing changes in the first half of the game, but somehow they messed up the second half. I've already explained all the differences in my Majora's Mask Let's Stream project on Twitch, which will be uploaded to YouTube eventually. But Majora's Mask 3D, it's well, to be honest guys, I don't recommend Majora's Mask as a first Zelda game because it's super difficult for a new Zelda comer to come by with this game. But I actually really love it because I played a lot of Zelda games before I played this one, the Majora's Mask for the N64. But I will admit though, I did have some fun with it until the second half. I did 100% this game, completed, with everything, all collectibles, all masks, yada yada. But I like it. It's not as good as the N64 one. Now this one, I recommend you guys get this one over to N64. Main reason? Because they add a lot of great features in Ocarina of Time 3D. Now here's the thing though. They may fix the water temple for most people's issue, even though the pause menu became very annoying. They fixed it in this one. They have master quests in this game too. However, Fire Temple still sucks. I hate the Fire Temple. They have not fixed the Fire Temple at all, in my personal opinion. It's the worst dungeon in the entire Zelda series. But Ocarina of Time, highly recommend it if you're starting out Zelda games. Very, very solid title. And I already explained the differences between the Ocarina of Time N64 versus 3DS in my Let's Play project on it, which is on YouTube, of course. Triforce Heroes, very, very boring if you play it single player. However, it's very fun if you could get other people to play it with you. It's supposed to be like a reincarnation of the Four Swords from the GBA and the GameCube series, but I have not finished this one yet. Now we get into Luigi's Mansion. This is the GameCube port, which is very interesting because most people complain that this game should have been on Switch. In my personal opinion, I think this should stay as a 3DS game. Mainly because I think it works a little bit better. So the main differences between this one, I think I explained most of them, but for those who are very, very curious, they've reamped up the gallery system. They have platinum frames for sure. And not only that, they added the PAL version in the Hidden Mansion. For those who do not know, the Hidden Mansion in the PAL version is way more difficult and way different in terms of layout compared to the North American version of the Luigi's Mansion, which is a pretty much a recopy and paste of the regular mansion in the North American version. So I won't go into too much details besides that for Luigi's Mansion. Just check out my Luigi's Mansion single run 100% completion stream. You're gonna know all the differences. Okay, now you can't finish Luigi's Mansion series without Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon, also known as Luigi's Mansion 2. Now this one is very, very weird. Oh yeah, by the way, this one uses Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon's mechanics, like control-wise, but there is an option to have it original. But controls are very awkward in both of the games. This is a sequel to Luigi's Mansion for the GameCube. If you want to play the 3DS, go ahead. This one is actually, I remember this one being my least favorite, but I didn't think it was that bad, as most people would say. Evershade Valley is pretty much like King Boo comes back after you. They added a few new features as well in this version. You know, this has been a totally different game. Super frustrating 100% because the grading system is so weird. I don't understand, because most of the stuff I get 3 stars, but then another mission I get 1 star. Very complicated system, but I do recommend it. Mario Kart 7. 7, the lucky number. This is actually one of my, not least favorite, but this is the one I don't really remember at all, actually. It's just Mario Kart with different courses. The Wii, I think it's the Wii Sports Resort one. They have a course on it. Really good. But other than that, though, I don't really remember this game. Mario and Luigi Dream Team. What can I say about this one? This one's very long, very dragged out, but very solid title. People say this is the easiest in the series. I actually completely disagree with that, because I had trouble with some of the bosses in this game. And not only that, just a fair warning, a lot of enemies in the Dream World have a lot of HP. So if you're doing high amounts of damage, over 100, that's why. But yeah, the ending pretty much ruined it for me because it kept dragging on and on and on. But I do recommend this game if you're trying to get into the Mario and Luigi series. However, take your cane of sugar, it is pretty long. Okay, moving on to Metroid Samus Returns. A remake of Samus Returns for the game, I think it's Game Boy. Very good remake, actually. What's funny is that Nintendo did shut down a project called Metroid Another Remake or something. It was like a reamped up version where it uses Samus Zero Mission's control scheme, but there is a reason why they shut it down super fast, because this game was being released close to where that fan-made game was being released. Metroid Samus Returns, I don't really remember this one as well because I have not really started on it. However, from what I played with the 10 minutes though, it's very, very good. So there's that. Yeah, it makes Samus 2, Metroid 2 more tolerable, if that makes sense. Then we have Federation Force, same story with Triforce Heroes. Very boring on your single playthrough if you're, you know, the only one that's playing it. However, I think this one's a little bit better than Triforce Heroes because there's less switching off compared to Triforce Heroes. But taking a sugar, this one's good. Not only that, it includes a game called Metroid Prime Blast Ball, which I find really ridiculous, but it's really good. The Blast Ball game. This one, I would recommend you skip it, unless you're a hardcore Metroid fan. Poochie and Yoshi's Woolly World. Now, this is a Wii U port from a 3DS game. I'm very amazed with this one because this one is actually one of the few Yoshi games I do enjoy so far. And I say so far loosely because I have not completed this one, Crafted World, and New Island. Those are the only 3 games I have not 100% completed. I've 100% completed DS and SNES, but Crafted World is really cool because you can scan like an amiibo and it'll have like Yoshi's like yarn design of it. I find that really cool. Hey, Shulk Yoshi is the best in the entire bunch, but 2D platformer, very charming. Pretty difficult to 100% from what I'm seeing so far because you get attacked a lot in this game. But what they made with the biggest difference is that it's now like a linearity pathway. So unlike the Wii U version of this game, where you could go free roaming, this one you go by in linear order. However, they added a new mode called Poochie Dash or something. And I think it's okay. I mean, it's not my go-to, but you get this one or the Wii U version. Pick your cane of sugar because I think both of them are great versions, actually. Star Fox 3D. This is a port of Star Fox 64 for the N64. My preferred way to play this game because, one, I'll be honest, guys, the only level I play from Star Fox 64 is Zonus. Zonus is just a beautiful level. And seeing it in 3D is actually amazing. What they added was more tolerable stuff. So if you only want to play, like, say, like Zonus or Fortuna, well, Fortuna, they added a correction, which I explained in my Star Fox single run 100% completion stream. But score attack is pretty much a level select, but the only trade-off is that they made getting the metals a lot harder in this version. However, I love this game, guys. I recommend you guys buy this game. Alright, Super Mario 3D Land. Oh boy, this main game is very fun. However, you go for 100% completion. This game sucks. It's very annoying, but I had fun for what it tried to do. It brought back the raccoon suit and the Tanuki suit. So there was that, but I did not enjoy the extra, like the post-game content. It's just too gimmicky. Alright, so we have Smash Bros. 4 for the 3DS. Very clever title. I really wish you guys give me more clever titles. Nintendo and HAL Laboratories. This one took the world by storm because, yeah, Smash Bros. Portable, wow. But this actually destroyed a lot of people's circle paths for very good reason. But this was the very first game that integrated amiibo support. So, of course, amiibo came out first with the Smash series and then the Mario series, where you can actually use amiibos as fighters. But other than that, though, this is integrated between Smash 4 for Wii U and 3DS. So I find that very cool. Probably the least favorite of the fan base, to be honest. Now we have the Ultimate NES Remix. Think of it as WarioWare, where you have a bunch of like micro mini games, and you got to complete the objective within a certain time. Very, very solid title, actually. And all that, you can find this in the wild for very cheap too. So there is that. Highly recommend this one if you're into like quirky and gimmicky kind of gameplay. So there's that. This one, I recommend you guys go out and buy it. WarioWare Gold. This is okay. Whenever I'm coming back from the dorms or university, come back here, this is the very first game I pick up. It's just that good. I love this game. I don't know how many hours I put into this game because WarioWare has been absent since, I believe, since the WiiWare. I think it's like a DSware title, which is not available anymore. But this game combines all the previous WarioWare series into one package with a few new mini games, micro games, but they integrate it so well in the controls. Like, I really want to stream this game someday. However, I don't have a capture card for it, which sucks, but it's an amazing, I highly recommend buying this. Now we're getting into my favorite game of all time on 3DS. And yes, this is the only new 3DS game I have in this collection. Very solid, very good gameplay, very good music. I would argue that the greatest OST is actually in this game. But What they added in this one is that I think they added achievements in this version. They also added like collect modals and sounds kind of deal. I feel like this version is actually slightly easier than the Wii version. However, take a can of sugar because I have not finished either versions, which many people keep telling me finish this game. This is actually definitely one of my New Year's resolutions to finish this game, but highly recommend it if you can get the new 3DS systems. I highly recommend this game. Very, very well done game. And then the one game that no one likes. Yes, the soundtrack is really bad, but this is actually better than the DS version. Enemy placements is not as bad, but this game is very questionable. So it's just kazoots is the main instrument they use. It's very funny, but the whole gimmick is that you have like these giant enemies and you make eggs. I feel sorry for Yoshi because I would assume that his digestive system must be in pain when he goes through that. But yeah, I recommend skipping this one unless you really like platformers, but I think this one's okay. Okay, so now that's my entire 3DS collection. Now, if you were supposedly, which I'm pretty sure some of you guys are very unlikely to, buy a new 3DS system. I'm assuming that you guys are going to be buying a new 3DS system. Here's the following games I would recommend, and this is probably going to be about like 10 games because there's too many games I could recommend for this system. Wow, I gotta recommend Shadows of Lentia. Very, very good game to start out with in the Fire Emblem series. Awakening is good too, but you start from the worst from the best. But if you really want to start with a solid game, I recommend this one. Kid Icarus Uprising, enough said, it's a good one. Planet Robobot, very, very different. However, I'm gonna also add Triple Deluxe too because they're Kirby games. Kirby's very beginner friendly unless you go for 100% completion. That's a different story. But definitely recommend either one of those two. And I'm gonna put that as one entry because they're tied together. Okay, and then we got Ocarina of Time, legendary game. I don't need to say anything about it. Let's see. I'm gonna add these two as well because Luigi's Mansion, everyone loves Luigi's Mansion. Like from who I've talked to, but these games will actually help you get used to the 3DS controls. So take a can of sugar because honestly, I didn't get used to the 3DS controls until I actually played Dark Moon. So very fantastic games. And these are going to be counted as one entry as well. Then I am going to also have a Dream Team. I mean, if you're looking for a long game for your first game and you're on the budget or can't afford like buying 2 games at once for your first time, this is a very good one. I think I finished this in 40 hours. Finished, not completed. All right, and then Woolly World. Enough said about this one. Star Fox 64. I really hesitated to put this one, but I really like this game. But if you're a college student who doesn't have enough time, this is a very good title because you can finish a level within like what 10 to 15 minutes, and it'll save your progress that way. That's the main advantage why I prefer this one over the N64. Just saying. Then Mario 3D Land. It's one of the few Mario games I actually have in this collection. Then WarioWare Gold. I've already talked about this game in extensive detail. Go on and buy it. And then finally we have Xenoblade Chronicles 3D. Like I said, I'm assuming that you're buying either one of these 2 models. However, I'm throwing this one as an extra because some people may prefer the older systems. I don't need to talk about this one. I've already gushed enough about it in this video. So that's like pretty much most of the games these are all the games I recommend you guys pair it with your system for various different reasons. I know a lot of people are different, of course, but I ain't taking a can of sugar. So ladies and gentlemen, that's my entire 3DS collection. Yeah, the only 2 games I really want to get is Tales of Abyss, which is a remake of a PS2 game, and Project Zone 2. I only want it because I love Fiora. Fiora's in this game. She's waifu. Other than that though, the only 2 games I sold on the 3DS system collection line, 2, surprisingly. The least amount of games I sold, and that's how good the system is. They were Rayman 3D. I couldn't stand the glitchiness. And I think I also sold New Super Mario Bros. 2. It's super generic. So there's that. Well, also, that's all I have for you guys today. All I gotta say, guys, if you enjoyed the video, hit that like button, subscribe on my YouTube. It's free to subscribe on YouTube. Also, follow my Twitch channel. It's also free to follow the Twitch channel as well. If you enjoy like gaming content, if you want to see me play like Nintendo games live on stream, 100% completion, hit that follow button. And that's all really I got for you guys today. So this has been Frosty R&B. Stay chilly. Keep gaming. Please don't touch me. And I'll see you guys in the next one.